Don't let Dragon Ball Super Superhero fool you. Gohan has always been a beast. Super Saiyan 2 Gohan is the culmination of the character build-up in Dragon Ball Z, and he is and always will be a fan favorite. My favorite scene in the entirety of Dragon Ball Z, the Z portion, is Gohan turning Super Saiyan 2. It is iconic, but I have noticed that people have questions about some aspects of Gohan's Super Saiyan 2 transformation. For example, what actually triggered it? Was it 16 speech? Was it his friends being in danger? And why is it that Android 16 speech was so poignant for Gohan? What was it about that speech that connected Gohan to him and got him so riled up that when Cell stepped on him, that was the final straw? That was the final straw, though? A character that he wasn't really that connected to? What is the answer? What really went on behind Super Saiyan 2 Gohan's transformation and the build up to it? We're answering all of these questions today, so stay tuned. I want to thank each and every one of you who picked up the Gohan Then, Now, and Forever t-shirt or merch line. This has been the most successful merch line I've put out in quite some time. Right now it's still available. Then, Now, and Forever Beast Mode Classic t-shirt in various colors and sizes. Click the link in the description down below and get yours. And once again, I really appreciate everyone who's got one. They're still up if you haven't gotten one, and if you already got one, get another one for a friend or fellow Dragon Ball fan. And now, let's get to the video. To properly explain Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, you have to go back to the beginning. And I mean literally the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, which is not the beginning of the story. Obviously, Dragon Ball is the true beginning, but the beginning of Gohan's story is in Dragon Ball Z. Gohan as a protagonist was introduced very different from Goku. Gohan was raised by his mother Chi-Chi and Goku during the first 4 years of his life in a peaceful world. Piccolo presumably didn't attack anybody during that time, and Raditz wouldn't show up until Gohan turned 4, so those early years were in peace. Meanwhile, Goku, on the other hand, had to grow up in the jungles after his grandfather died and had to learn to survive on his own. But Gohan was kind of a bratty, spoiled kid in comparison to Goku. Then along came Goku's brother Raditz appearing in the series and kidnapping Gohan, which would lead to Gohan bursting out of the space capsule and showing us from the very start that he had more potential, possibly, than any other character before him, including his own father. Gohan at the beginning of Dragon Ball Z was more powerful than Goku was at the end of Dragon Ball and at the beginning of Z as an adult. 4-year-old Gohan was stronger than Goku in his 20s at this point. That is impressive on its own. We find out soon after that the speculation behind this hidden power from Nappa and Vegeta's conversation in space is that they believe that the Saiyan-human hybrids have this strange ability to unlock their powers at a younger age and have higher potential. Now, the way this works is not explicitly explained in the series, and Toriyama would, much later on, introduce the concept of S cells and things of that nature to try to explain that. If you want more information on that, check out my transformation guide on Super Saiyan, because I go into that in detail. And don't forget to check out my transformation guide on Super Saiyan 2. This video is a companion piece to that because it focuses on Gohan, but you'll learn more about the actual form and stuff like that in that video. That one's more of a generalization. This one's more focused on Gohan, but I digress. So Gohan, from the start, had an incredible power, and then once Goku died, Piccolo took it upon himself to train him, and Piccolo trained him up to be a warrior. And as the series began to progress into the late Vegeta saga, into the Namek arc, Gohan kind of started coming into his own, being more brave and confident in his fighting abilities. But Goku was always there to protect him when he could be. Raditz kidnapped Gohan, and Goku went to go save him. On planet Namek, Goku arrived not just to help get the Dragon Balls to resurrect his friends, and to, of course, fight Frieza, because Goku wanted to do that selfishly, but to protect his son, and his best friend. Now, there's a few times in the series where Goku does try his best to protect Gohan. And when we go into the Android and Cell saga, Goku spends an entire year with Gohan in the Room of Spirit and Time. But don't forget, prior to that, Goku spent 3 years training with Gohan in preparation for the arrival of the android. So there was a lot of bonding between Goku and Gohan during this time, but it wasn't until the 1 year in the Room of Spirit and Time during the Cell Saga that Goku really saw what Gohan was truly capable of. Goku saw more of Gohan's true abilities than Gohan even did, which I discussed in a video I put out a couple years ago where I went into how strong Gohan was in the Cell games, which again is a companion to this video. If you watch all these videos together, you'll get a complete picture of what led to and how this entire transformation sequence and this incredible power worked. But once again, I digress. Goku bonded with Gohan in the Room of Spirit and Time much more than they had done before, and Goku was impressed like a soccer dad would be at a softball game. Well, I guess it would be a softball dad. You know what I mean. He was proud of his boy, and he also knew that deep down inside, Gohan had the power to defeat Cell. And in fact, Goku, even though he kept it to himself for the most part, he knew deep down inside that he was not strong enough to defeat Perfect Cell in the Cell games, but Gohan was another story. And that's what led to Goku fighting Cell and eventually tagging out and allowing Gohan to fight. Now, when this happened, he also gave Cell a Senzu, which has been one of the most controversial things Goku has done. A lot of folks nitpick this and don't like it because of the fact that Goku put his own son in danger, which that is certainly true without question, but you have to also understand that Goku was so confident in Gohan that he knew that this was the guy to do it. And Gohan didn't even know how strong he was himself, which is what led to the final beam struggle between Gohan and Cell when Goku urged Gohan to use his maximum power. Gohan did it, even with one arm, and was able to finally put away Cell. So I covered most of that stuff in even more detail in that video I did about Gohan's strength as Super Saiyan 2, so make sure you check that out. But I want to go back a bit to Gohan's transformation because a lot of people don't seem to understand what it was that triggered Gohan to become Super Saiyan 2. I've seen a lot of comments online about how the fact that it was 16 who got stepped on that led to Gohan turning Super Saiyan 2. And a lot of folks have wondered, why 16? Why was it 16 that triggered Gohan's incredible anger and transformation? Why wasn't it, his father or Piccolo or somebody that Gohan cared about? Since when has Gohan had some kind of, emotional connection to 16? As far as we saw in the manga and anime, these guys barely interacted, if ever. Now, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot does add some extra stuff and extra content where they do talk a bit more, but that's not really the answer here. What was it about 16's death that led to Gohan unleashing his true power? Well, in order to get the answer to that, you really have to look beneath the surface and dissect the characters of Gohan and 16. That's how you really find out. And I'm going to give you the answer right now after doing extensive research on both the manga, the anime, and other story notes. So you're going to get the answer right now. Some of you already know this, some of you do not, but I think by the end of this video, you'll have complete clarity. This may seem obvious, but Goku and Gohan are different characters. Not just philosophically, not just in the way that their experiences in life have changed them, but biologically as well. Because Gohan is a half-breed and not a pureblood, his human side tends to have a much different emotional reaction to things than Goku. Obviously, Goku, he gets angry at things and he does care about people and he does want to do the right thing, but Instinctually, Goku is always the traditional martial artist, whereas Gohan just wants people to be safe and to be okay. And when we say people, we mean not just his family, but he wants everyone to be that way. However, if you threaten or hurt his loved ones, it tends to really piss him off. Remember, during the scene where 16 and Gohan are talking, the Cell Juniors are beating up not only his father, but everybody else. And they are too powerful for anyone to do anything at this point. And Cell is continuously taunting him, telling him that the Cell Juniors will soon finish them off if Gohan does not transform. Remember, Cell finds out that Gohan has a hidden power inside of him and he wants to exploit it because much like what Vegeta did when he found out that Cell could become perfect, he wants to challenge himself because he is the ultimate narcissist, not realizing that this was the biggest mistake of his life and led to him eventually being killed by the boy. Gohan's human side being biologically infused into him is what gives him a different kind of connection to people, but at the same time is what allows him to draw from that connection into anger, into power. Goku can get angry and power up. We've even seen Vegeta do it a few times. In Gohan's case, though, his power is connected directly to his anger. And his anger is rooted in feeling helpless. Every time Gohan powers up, it's because he feels helpless. When Goku was in danger of being killed by Raditz, Gohan burst out of the pod because he didn't want his dad to die. When the battle with Vegeta was going on, Gohan got involved despite being afraid because not only was Piccolo killed, but his father and his friends were in danger after he witnessed other people get killed by Nappa. And then, time and time again, it's always been because Gohan has thought about or witnessed his friends being hurt, which is literally how Goku tells him to go Super Saiyan, to think about the bad things and the things that make him angry because he knows that that is the trigger, even more so than purebloods. As was teased all the way back in DBZ episode 5, over 180 episodes or so before Gohan actually transformed into a Super Saiyan 2, when you combine Saiyan and human DNA, you get astronomically higher levels of potential. You have to remember this. This is said specifically by Gohan himself right before Android 16's speech. He tells Cell that unlike his father, he does not like to fight, and that fighting is pointless. But he says that he doesn't want to kill or hurt anyone, and he doesn't even want to hurt somebody as terrible as Cell. This is all about Gohan being a compassionate human. It's not about the excitement of a martial arts fight like Goku or like the dick waving contest that Vegeta would illustrate. Gohan doesn't like it. And he even tells Cell that he knows in the past that he can lose control. But the ever-curious Cell, with of course Vegeta's cells inside of him and part of his personality, continues to push the boy. The reason as to why I'm even bringing this up is because it does tie directly into 16. So, we've already established that Gohan cares about people and that he's not like his father, but he has a real rage problem when lives that he cares about are being threatened. Here is what's up with 16. I think a lot of people don't understand how brilliant this scene is. Android 16 and Gohan actually have a lot in common despite them not really being friends. 16 and Gohan both love nature and they want to protect innocent things. Yes, 16 was programmed to kill Goku, but he went against his own programming because his AI is a neural net learning computer. Gohan does not want to kill things either. So the philosophy here is that 16 tells Gohan that he needs to tap into his rage. He has to tap into his anger because it's not just about saving his friends. It's about saving everything. Everything is at risk here. 16 knows this. He knows that Cell is going to eventually destroy the planet, whether or not he admits it or not. He wanted to do it. He was probably going to do it after the Cell games anyways. And 16 is trying to explain to Gohan, some people just can't be talked out of being bad. Some people just cannot turn good. It's not in their nature. And ultimately, Cell is a machine. So for him to turn good was going to require a hell of a lot of, honestly, psychology. But the dude's got cells of Vegeta and Frieza and King Cold. He's not a nice guy. But 16 tells Gohan to get angry, that he must get angry to preserve the peace and the pacifism that is Gohan. Gohan doesn't like to fight. So how do you avoid fighting? You beat up your opponent. You finish the fight. That's what 16's telling him. Dude, you don't want to fight? Then fucking finish this guy off and move on. In a nicer way, of course, I'm simplifying it for you guys, but I'm talking in layman's for you, but that's kind of how it works. And this is all part of Toriyama's writing style in this arc. This is a hybrid of both Buddhism and Darwinism philosophies, which are contradictory ideas where one enforces peace and the other one ensures violence as necessary for survival. So in this scene, Toriyama plays with both ideologies. And this creates what I guess you can call a sort of philosophical clashing of ideology that somehow works because they're polar opposites. And this is a metaphor for humans and Saiyans being two different creatures, two different biological species.
どうやら我々と地球人との血が混じり合うと強力なパワーを持つ雑種ができるようだな。
And Gohan happens to be both. This is what happens when you mix alien DNA with human DNA. If you're into that kind of stuff, those conspiracy theories and whatnot, that science fiction, that's literally what this is encompassed into Gohan's body. When Cell stepped on 16's head, it's metaphorically Cell stepping on everything that Gohan believes in. It's literally like Cell is stepping on the entire planet, stepping on his father's neck, among others. And Gohan just has had enough. It's been built up for so long, not just with the danger that's going on with the Cell Juniors, but what 16 said, and that is ultimately what leads to Gohan figuring out that, yeah, I have to let go. I have to let go. However, there is a drawback. One of the problems with Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, is that he makes a critical error. He dominates Cell, completely embarrasses him, but doesn't finish him off. Piccolo and Goku are both urging Gohan to do so because of how dangerous Cell is. For once, Goku is not giving Cell the benefit of the doubt, and he's not trying to spare him like he even did people like Frieza and other characters. Here, he's telling Gohan, alright, finish this because we don't know what he's capable of. And then guess what happens? Gohan gets too cocky and too overconfident, and it winds up costing him his father's life because of the fact that Cell, after reverting to his second form, balloons up and threatens to blow himself up and the Earth with him, which would lead to Goku's sacrifice. Gohan took too long to finish off Cell. Why? What happened was the unfortunate circumstance of Gohan feeling this power is that it ignited the Saiyan side of him. Gohan was completely lost, not only in his rage, but also in the fact that he felt like he was too much for Cell and that there was nothing Cell could do. This is a very similar decision to something Vegeta would do. Now, why is that? Gohan does have Saiyan cells, and the more he powers up, the more he taps into the beast side of him, the more he becomes like a Saiyan. It's there. It's ignited. Think about it like this. Gohan the scholar, when he's reading up on bugs and studying, nature, that Gohan is the human side. The Saiyan side is the one that fights and the one that gets angry and the one that loses control of himself and makes bad decisions. But his power is still there. And it's ultimately mirrored even in Dragon Ball Superhero because we see both sides of Gohan in that film. It's a very interesting situation with Gohan's character because he's always been like this, and it's something Toriyama has played with, and it makes him different than Goku. And I like that. I like it. It makes him more interesting. So hopefully now that you've watched this video, you understand Gohan a bit more. You know the story of Super Saiyan 2 Gohan and why it's different than, say, Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta, which I did do a video on that. And why 16's speech resonated with Gohan so much as to make him lose control and find his true power. Take care, and thanks for watching.